The Royalty and Legacy expansion pack comes out today, and of course I had to build a castle. And here is what we're gonna be doing today. I know I did several castles before. I did this tiny castle in Hanford on Bagley, even an Edinburgh inspired one, a medieval one, and a winter castle. But today I wanted to go with a different kind of a castle in the new world that we got, and I wanted to be inspired of some sort of a Disney castle with a bit of realism to it. So for this building, we are in Verdemar, the new neighborhood that comes in Ondarion, and we are on a 30 by 30 lot, and it's actually the Apprentice estate, and I cannot wait to actually dive into this and to show you how I did this castle. So first things first, of course, we needed a foundation, so that's what I basically did at first. I didn't know the shape of the foundation, I just did a very big square box, and then guess what? I had to add some extra boxes to kind of give it a shape to this castle. I knew I wanted it to be a bit tiny and very tall, so that's why I keep placing boxes and boxes until the 4th floor was up. And the thing that will make this castle actually interesting are the rounded pieces that I will add in the corners of this very big box. And of course I will use these rounded walls and I will make them as tiny as possible, and I will just place them in every corner of this box on each floor. And of course I will go as higher as I can. Unfortunately, now in The Sims, the only high we can have on a build is actually the 4th floor, which I think it's uncertain. But speaking about heights, I would really wish at some point to be able to go furthermore from 4 floors, but that's what we have and that's what I had to deal with. So now we will be trying to carefully add these tiny pieces of roof around the platform that I added on top of the roof, because that gives an effect where, you know, that roof side, it's actually filled with something, and I couldn't have an actual room there because it's above the 3rd floor. So that's how I did that part there, and then the rounded roof pieces for the towers I added. And now that I'm looking at this, I really think I should have chosen a bigger lot for this castle, because a 30 by 30 lot, it's quite small, and I really think it would have been like better for me to do it maybe on a 64 by 64. But I just love the view on this lot because we have the sea in the background. And yes, moving on, we are now doing a tiny little room that's not connected to our castle, and actually this is gonna be the throne room. And just because I don't know why I wanted to have a lot of rounded towers or shapes in the foundation, I kept adding, you know, rounded foundations and rounded walls and different sides of the build to actually give it an interesting shape, because I didn't want it to end up with the actual square foundation that I started at the end. And that's why I'm doing this split level stairs, so you have a foundation where you go up and then stairs that leads to the main foundation where is the actual castle build. And then I added an extra tower here, and I just felt it's, I don't know, the guards tower or something, because somebody needed to, I don't know, keep protection for the front door. And obviously I had to use the new stone wallpaper from the Royalty and Legacy expansion pack. This wallpaper, it's gonna be one of my favorites, and I think I will be using it furthermore in my videos, just because we have so many swatches. I might do a castle for every swatch that we have. No, I'm exaggerating, but honestly, we have, you know, this moldy and grungy pattern at the bottom or at the top of the wallpaper, and it really makes this nice effect between floors, and you can actually see where is the 2nd floor, where is the 3rd floor and the 4th floor, and I really think that's interesting. And think about castles, they're old, right? I mean, I don't think I've seen a castle that it's not old, and I really wish nowadays we would have castles that are built. I think it would be my dream. Of course, yeah, I was born in the wrong century. I would have loved to live in an era with just castles. So that's why I'm so excited about this building. And again, as you can see, I'm adding this tiny rounded foundation in the side of this lot because here I wanted to have a very, very big tree, which actually is in the live edit catalog, comes with the new pack, and I think it's gonna be my next favorite tree that exists in The Sims. So that's what I did in the right side of the build. And of course, the new windows were impossible not to use in this castle, and I tried to add these windows that are for the tall walls because I used only very tall walls on this castle. And I tried to add this tiny, balcony on each window on this section of the castle. And then I added these columns that match perfectly with the fence. And then just clicking Alt and copying these sections, I could easily add them to this side of this wall. And I really think it's also looking very cool from the left side. And again, I'm saying that this was supposed to be a bigger lot, and I actually struggled a lot with what details I could add. But speaking about details, and you know how much I love debug for me, it's something as essential as the build and buy catalog, and that's why you'll be seeing me using this rectangle type of a building that you can see it throughout the neighborhoods in Ondarion. And I stacked one of that building on every empty space that I got on my buildings, and I really think on top of the castle it really makes a very good effect, and it makes the castle even taller, which I actually wanted. I know there's actually this trick where you can have a separate building that's not connected to your foundation, and that you can raise it up so you can have even a higher dimension on your castle, but I didn't have the actual space to do so, so I just had to stick with this because 30 by 30, I don't think I will do a 30 by 30 castle soon. In fact, just after I finished this castle, I had an urge to build something big because this lot was very small for me. I always go huge. I always like to do medium to large to huge builds, if I may say. And actually, I started to build the Red Keep from Game of Thrones, and I cannot wait to share that with you as well because that's tall. So this castle is not tall. That is very tall, and I cannot wait to share that build with you as well. So speaking about details on my castle, what I did here, I added a tiny balcony with a door. So basically what I did, I have some walls that are on the first floor and I replaced them with spandrels. So that basically shows how that tiny balcony from the first floor has support. And I really like to do that trick, especially in castles. And speaking about the back of the build, as you can see, I'm trying to add a large balcony because I didn't want it to extend this castle very much, because I knew I already had space for a master bedroom, for a throne room, dining, kitchen. It's quite a small castle, as I said. It's tall and small, and I loved it. I mean, I was fine with the size of the castle, so that's why here I'm trying to add some sort of a rounded platform because I wanted this balcony to have a shape, like not a very straight shape. So that's why I'm using, again, rounded walls. And if you know me or watch me in general, you know that for me, rounded walls or rounded platforms are not so used because it's kind of hard to actually furnish them, especially inside. And I really had a struggle with the inside, but in the end I made it out. And as you can see here, I'm using again a rounded piece. I will copy, I will place it underneath, and with some very beautiful columns, I will have a nice patio and balcony on the both floor, the ground floor and the first floor, and with the new spandrel as well. I really think the back of the castle looks beautiful, even though I think I needed more space. Obviously, I always need more space. We will add the new spandrel, and look at this spandrel, it's gorgeous. And one more thing we need in the back of the castle, it's a second exit. So that's why I'm adding these stairs inside of the build because no space. And then I try to drag them outside on that empty space, and actually they fit perfectly there. And with the new feature that we got in the recent base game update, we can adjust the actual railings on which side we want and how long we want them to be. And that thing really helped me. So now we are into some landscape, but I'm so sad I don't have the necessary space to actually do a nice landscaping. So I'm just trying to elevate a bit the terrain and do this split level flower beds with the new flowers that we got because I'm obsessed with them. They are looking so good, and we are into furnishing because here in the exterior I didn't know what I wanted here, and then I realized this is the perfect room for a throne. So when you have, visitors or people that come over, they don't need to go in the actual castle if they want to see the king or the queen or whatever title you might have in your game, because you can't be a king in the first place. So if you are a noble, you will get your people right here, and I really thought it's a nice idea to have it separate from the actual building. And yes, as you can see, we are furnishing with the new royalty and legacy items, the new chairs, the new curtains, the new lights, and the new rug. Basically everything is new. I tried to use everything that we got because this castle, it's using only base game and royalty and legacy, and obviously the build is already on the gallery for you to get it. I don't know about time zones. The pack should be out in some areas right now, but the actual castle is there, so you go there and download it because it's gonna be nice in your game, I promise. So yeah, of course a noble family might need their office, and speaking about rounded walls, that's my struggle. The struggle with furnishing inside rooms that are actually rounded. They look so beautiful and perfect in outside, Let's not mention the glitches with the actual windows, but for some reason, these new windows from the pack went very well in the rounded rooms. But when it comes to furnishing, for me is always a struggle. So I should have called this a small castle instead of a royal castle. But considering all the beautiful furniture it's inside, it's definitely royal. But it's also tiny and crowded. We only have a master bedroom, a nursery, a room for a kid or a teenager, and kitchen and dining. And actually, who has the living room and the actual dining room in the same area, which by the way is the entrance? No, this is not so realistic for a castle. Now I realize that. Everything should have been separate. This is too small to be called a castle, if you ask me. Now I realized, okay, this is not a castle. I don't know what it is. It's a tall building for a noble family. Anyways, we have a tiny kitchen, and basically when I furnished this kitchen, I realized that maybe noble families do not want to cook, because obviously royal families have butlers or even like maids and nannies, like everything. They don't do, house chores, which is obvious why. And then I realized I don't have space in this castle for the room for a butler. And I was very sad about that. And then I realized maybe the throne room could be redesigned into being a separate space for the butler. But that's up to you, depending on how you want to play in this castle and what you want to do. And of course, you need a tea area outside and, a tiny dining table where you can hang out and enjoy the sun and, talk about royal duties. And of course, master bedroom, I will go with this new wallpaper in the beige color because I really love the look of this wallpaper on the stairs. So basically the same pattern, it's on both, and I really love how it's looking. And I kind of tried to hide the stairs in the master bedroom because those stairs go up on the third floor where, we have this kind of a room with storage and royal stuff, but it's also a corner for arts and crafts, so you can actually do painting there if you enjoy that. So that's why I decided to have the stairs there in the master bedroom, because obviously if they want to store something, they need to keep close to them so nobody can have access. And yes, cluttering the space with this beautiful telescope with the map and this beautiful new shoes that are underneath this side table. I'm obsessed with these new shoes. And yeah, a vanity table. Of course, I think in every royal build that I will be doing from now on in the future, I will obviously have this vanity table with all the clutter that comes, you know, the perfume, the fan, the jewelry box, because they're, guys, this is a different level of clutter. I love this so much. I love this so much. And yeah, moving on, as I told you, we're gonna be furnishing a tiny room for a baby and a room for another kid. Can be a teen if you would like to. And of course, we have this dresser with a chest inside. I thought that's a nice detail. And you know, the royal dresses and the royal shirts for male and females. And then we have the royal bathroom with this beautiful lights. Oh god, I think I use them in every single room, and I even think I use these lights outside. I couldn't stop using these lights. Yeah, I was, and I think I still am obsessed with them. I love them so much. And now we're into the teenager slash child room. I went with this green color because it's one of my favorite greens. In fact, green is my favorite color, but all the shades of green basically I love so much. We have a desk area. We also have a TV. You know what? Thinking about castles, I don't know why everything that's electronic doesn't make sense to me. Let me know down in the comments if you feel like they should be in a castle, because when I think castle, I think medieval. And when I think medieval, I think off the grid. And when I think off the grid, it means no TV or computer, obviously. So tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't know. Are there modernized castles? Obviously they are nowadays, but it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't want to make a modern castle ever. For me, castles should be with no running water, actually. that's how my brain works. So yeah, we're into the nursery. Obviously, a baby doesn't need that much. They only need their mother. So we have a tiny bassinet in there. And moving to the last room of this castle, the storage room and the arts and crafts room. I really wished I had space to add the woodworking table here, but I wanted to use the new vases, so I didn't have any more space left. So that's why I came with this easel that I really enjoy. That it's a very good looking with the side table with paint on it, and basically that's how you can get here from the actual master bedroom. And that would be my castle. Let me know in the comments what you think about this build, you guys. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts and opinions. And if you want to get this from the gallery, it's uploaded already. I hope you liked this build. And yes, until the next time, don't hesitate to leave a like, a comment, and a sub to the channel to help the channel grow. And I believe I will see you in my next Sims 4 video. Bye, everyone!